Εξομολογήστε το Κύριο διαγραφός, αλληλούια, ότι στον αιώνα το έλεος αυτού, αλληλούια.
Today's video is about the first war between Muhammad and his companion and the Jew in Medina. You know, Medina they used to call it Yathrib, no Medina, and Muhammad changed the name to Medina. We're going to talk about the confrontation between Muslim and the Jew for the first time ever. We know that when Muhammad moved to Yathrib, it was called Yathrib, wasn't Medina. And even if you go to ancient maps, the name is Yathrib. You don't find the Medina. He changed the name to Medina for some reason, but actually he had so many different names, and they end up with choosing Medina apparently. There were three tribes in Medina before Muhammad moved from Mecca to Medina. Three Jewish tribes: Bani Nadir, Bani Qaynuqa, and Bani Qurayza. They were real Jews, and there were other Arab Jews that accepted Judaism. One of them is Bani Najjar. But Muhammad, he had the problem with the real Jew, with Bani Nadir, Bani Qaynuqa, and Bani Qurayza. And there were another two tribes, Arab tribes, pagan tribes, if you can call them, Aus wal Khazraj. They called them Aus wal Khazraj. Actually, Aus wal Khazraj, they used to call them the champ of the desert. Why they call them champ of the desert? Because they were, most of them, they were forcing the caravans to pay them some ransom to let them travel. So it's like you call it jizya, something like early jizya.
Toll
Yeah.
charges.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have it on the bridge. When you cross the bridge, you have to pay a toll.
Okay. We know that the three Jewish tribes, Bani Nadir, Bani Qaynuqa, Bani Qurayza, they were the first to live in Medina before the Arab. And most of the Muslim historians, of course, say they lived there even before the birth of Jesus.
Yeah. So just one question. The Quraysh was always in Mecca, not in Medina, right?
Sorry?
Quraysh was only in Mecca, not in
Was
Medina.
just in Mecca, yeah.
Mecca, yeah.
The tribe of Quraysh just lived in Mecca.
Okay. So there were no pagans living in Medina then?
There were the two, I mentioned the two pagan tribe, Bani Nadir, Aus wal Khazraj. They call them Aus, and the other tribe is called Khazraj. And they say they come from Yemen.
Oh, Yemen.
So they moved from Yemen for, we don't know exactly what time, but after the Jews start living in Medina, of course. That's Muslim historian, of course, they say that. And they come from Yemen and they moved to, and the Jews let them stay with them in Medina.
I see.
Yathrib, what's called Yathrib.
Right.
Narrated by Ibn Abbas, where they called him the ink of the nation of Islam. Just after Muhammad returned from Battle of Badr, the Badr is the first battle between Muhammad and Quraysh, and they won the battle for the war of Badr. And when Muhammad returned from the Ghazwat Badr, they called the Ghazwat Badr, he gathered the Bani Qaynuqa had a market. It's like a big area, and they had markets selling stuff. They make stuff themselves, and they were famous for making swords and jewelry and all kinds of things. So Muhammad gathered all the Jews in the market, he's called them, and he said, after he returned from Badr, after the winning of Badr, "O Jew, beware of the vengeance of Allah, beware of the vengeance that Allah sent down upon Quraysh, and submit to Islam." So Muhammad is threatening, it's obvious he's threatening Bani Qaynuqa for no reason. He gathered them in the market and threatened them, and he's telling them, if you don't accept Islam, it's the same. It's gonna happen the same thing like Quraysh, what happened in Badr. And of course, Bani Qaynuqa, what they said, "Oh Muhammad, do not be deceived by the fact that you met a people who had no knowledge of war." You're talking about Quraysh, of course, and you took advantage of them. So Bani Qaynuqa, they said, "Yeah, don't be deceived. You won the battle against Quraysh." Because they're not people of the war, they're people of business. They're famous.
Oh, so the Quraysh was not a warlike people?
No, there was no.
They were just business people.
Just business people.
Ah.
If you go to Sirat ibn Hisham, the most famous Sirah,
Yeah.
he said the reason of war is this one. I mentioned the reason of war. It's not the first one. It's not the. I mean, Muhammad had the argument with them, threatened Bani Qaynuqa. He said this is the reason, and we're gonna for the reason of war. He said, what happened? An Arab woman, after the conflict happened, a while, we don't know how many days, an Arab woman come with she had a goat or sheep, we don't know sure what had, and went to the market of Bani Qaynuqa. She entered the market of Bani Qaynuqa to sell it, and she did sell what she had. After she sat with the jury, there was a Jewish, of course, to buy something from him. So the jury, what he said, the jury asked her to reveal her face. Apparently she was covering her face. We don't know why, but she refused. The woman refused to cover her face. The Jew man, he wanted to see her face. The Jew wanted the age of her dress somehow. He wanted the age with her dress, and tied it to her back. When she got up, the lower part of was exposed. So they're not wearing underwear. And so the Jews started laughing at her. Then a Muslim man jumped on the jury and he killed him. So the Jew, after that, a group of Jews attacked the Muslim man and they killed him as well. So the evil broke. That's what Ibn Hisham said. So the evil broke between Muslim and Bani Qaynuqa. This story, such a justification of the story is clearly weak or fable. This story is quite fake. Why? We don't know the name of the Arab woman. We don't know her name, nor her tribe. We don't know the name of the juror. And most importantly, we don't know the name of the Muslim who witnessed and defended the woman. Not his tribe as well. Nothing. Somehow this story. Again, this story, Sirat ibn Hisham, the biography of Ibn Hisham, is the biography of Ibn Ishaq. So Ibn Hisham, he took the biography of Ibn Ishaq, and himself he said, I had to change things in this. I have to edit this. He had to remove, himself said that, I have to remove anything to harm the Prophet Muhammad. And he had other things. One of the things he had, this story. This story is not mentioned by Ibn Ishaq. Ibn Ishaq, he didn't mention that story at all. So how come Ibn Hisham brought this story? This story as well is not mentioned by Tabari. Tabari, when you read Tabari, it doesn't mention this story. And it's not mentioned by Muhammad ibn Sa'd al-Baghdadi. Muhammad ibn Sa'd, he has biography, famous biography as well. Tabaqat Kubra ibn Sa'd, Muslim knows this biography. And who mentioned this story? Ibn Hisham, Ibn Kathir. These two mentioned this story. They show how the Muslim, their scholars are liars. So after that, Gabriel come down to Muhammad, Angel Gabriel, of course, with this verse. Verse is Surah Al-Anfal, chapter 8, chapter 8, verse 58, said, if you fear from people betrayal through their treaty back to them, indeed Allah does not like traitor.
So this is the treaty between the...
They said there was treaty between Muslim Muhammad and the Jew. I will read it in Arabic. وَإِمَّا تَخَافَنَّ مِنْ قَوْمٍ خِيَانَةً فَانْبُتْ إِلَيْهِمْ عَلَى سَوَاءٍ إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يُحِبُّ. And at the end of the verse. And Muhammad, after received this verse, apparently said, I fear Bani Qaynuqa. I don't trust him. So he went to them with his army, with his men. This verse contradicts. The problem here, this verse itself contradicts another verse in chapter 12, verse 49, Al-Hujurat. What say, oh believers, avoid many suspicious, from indeed some suspicious are sinful. So there is a contradiction here. Muhammad said, I fear, the first one, he said, if you fear from these people, if you fear, and the other one say, avoid suspicious. The problem here, why Muhammad didn't ask for the blood money? If they killed, these Jews killed that man, he could have asked for his blood money, or he could kill just the few men, the Jews who killed the Muslim. It's at least, it's a conflict between men. But Muhammad didn't ask for the blood money, which is something Arab used to do it, even Muslim still doing it. Until now, if you go to Saudi Arabia, they're still asking for that things. If you kill a man by mistake or in a fight, you could have asked for his blood money. So Muhammad, he besieged them in their fortress. They had kind of fortress. It's not big fortress, but something to protect them. For 15 nights, the most severe besiegement, until God cast terror in their heart. Allah cast terror in the heart of Banu Qaynuqa. They said, so Banu Qaynuqa said, they sent someone to Muhammad. They said, shall we get down and go? We want to leave and leave you everything. Just let us leave Yathrib, Medina. Muhammad said, no, except according to my ruling, my judgment. They didn't know because Banu Qaynuqa didn't know what exactly Muhammad mean by that, but they had to surrender. 15 days, they ran off the water, they ran off the food, so they had to surrender, and they were afraid for their family, their children. So they settled according to the ruling of Muhammad. So Muhammad straight away he ordered them to be tied up, all the men, while he wanted to kill all of them. But Muhammad wanted to kill. It's not me. It's the biography. Ibn Hisham, Tabari, Ibn Kathir, Ibn Ishaq. They all say Muhammad wanted to kill them for this reason, for that fight, which doesn't make sense. We said the story doesn't make sense. There is no name of the man who saved the woman, the brave Muslim, apparently. The name of the woman, nothing. So that story was made up after. But Abdullah ibn Salul, who is Abdullah ibn Salul? Abdullah ibn Salul is from the tribe, one of the tribe of Arab, Khazraj. He was one of their leaders, but they had so many. Abdullah ibn Salul stood up to him and he said, "Oh Muhammad, be good to them," because they were allies of Khazraj. Because this tribe, Banu Qaynuqa, they were allies of Khazraj before Islam, before Muhammad migrated in Medina. So Muhammad didn't respond. He didn't respond at all. Abdullah repeated, "Be kind to my friends." So Muhammad turned away from him, ignored him. Then Abdullah ibn Salul put his hand into the pocket of the armor of Muhammad. So Abdullah ibn Salul come and he hold Muhammad from the back of here. So he hold him. Then Muhammad said to him, "Let me go." And Muhammad becomes so angry, and they saw the shadow on his face. That show you he was afraid from Abdullah ibn Salul. They call him the hypocrite, the biggest hypocrite in Medina, for saving the life of these people. Then he said, "Woe to you, send me, let me go." Abdullah ibn Salul said, "No, by Allah, I will not send you, that means I will not let you go until you do good to my friends. 400 without armor and 300 with armor have prevented me in the past from the red and the black." Arab don't say white, they say red actually. When they compare the black, they don't say black and red, they say red and black. They don't say white and black, they say red and black. That's the way Arab before. So Muhammad wanted to kill 700 men. He said 400 without, because they had 400 they had armors, this Banu Qaynuqa, and the other 300 they didn't have armors. Armors are very expensive at that time, even. So he said, "No, I want to let you go until you promise me you're not gonna kill them." So you want to kill them all in the same morning. That's Abdullah ibn Salul keep saying. You want to kill all the 700 in the same morning. By Allah, I am a person who fear betrayal. What Abdullah ibn Salul said that because what does it mean? He say, "Yeah, if Muhammad, if you kill these 700, you might betray me tomorrow as well. You kill me with my men." So he said, "I am a person who fear betrayal as well." Then Muhammad said, "They are yours, take them. May Allah curse them and curse you with them," and ordered them to be evacuated from Medina. You want to be evacuated, and he gave them 3 days to leave. So after that, Muhammad, messenger of Allah, Prophet, and the Muslims confiscate what they had in money. So he took everything they had inside their houses. They want inside. They this Banu Qaynuqa, they didn't practice agriculture, so they didn't have lands to practice. Just had the markets where they sell the stuff, where they make things. So Muhammad took they were goldsmith. So messenger of Allah, of course, took their weapons and their goldsmith. He took even their weapons. So they left Medina without weapons. Even dangerous, you can travel in without weapons.
It's dangerous.
A whole tribe, 700 men, and you've got women plus children. He took their weapons, he took their jewelry, and he left.
He left them, yeah?
Yeah. And Messenger of Allah took 20% for himself,
20%.
for him and Allah, of course.
Wow.
And he divided,
20%.
what remained among his companion.
So that's just robbery. What kind of a prophet do
Proper,
something like that?
true robbery. True. With stupid reason, with story, it's not even true. There's a verse, Surah Al-Ma'idah, chapter 5, verse 51,
Yeah.
say, Messenger of Allah received because of this verse, which said chapter 5, verse 51, Muhammad received, it was because of Abdullah ibn Salul for saving the life of these people, for saving life for 700. This verse say, "Oh, you who believe, do not take the Jew and the Christian as ally." This is the reason for this verse.
Oh, so this verse is actually against, like, because they say that this was during war. So
Yeah, this is for this reason, this verse. This verse, with chapter 5, verse 51, "Oh, you who believe, the Muslim who believe, do not take the Jew and the Christian as allies." Some of them are allies one of another,
They're
of
only
one
allies
another.
of one
Yeah.
another.
Whoever of you ally himself with them is one of them.
Oh, okay.
Allah does not guide the wrong-doing people. So that's the reason for this verse why you don't take the Jew and the Christian. For
First,
this,
he attacked the Jews because they betrayed him. They said.
they betrayed him. No, for that woman, for this story of the woman. That's the reason of the war. That story of the woman went to the market. For a story made up, of course. We don't know when exactly, because we said Ibn Ishaq is the one who first wrote the biography of Muhammad. He didn't mention it. Ibn Hisham mentioned it by himself. At-Tabari, he didn't mention it. In biography Tabaqat Kubra ibn Sa'd, he doesn't mention it. Only Ibn Kathir, Ibn Hisham, they mention and they add it. By the way, Ibn Kathir, the biography, he took it from Tabari. So he took from Tabari and he added this story, which is Tabari didn't mention at all. Banu Qaynuqa went to so they left Medina and went to a region called Dar'a. It's in south of Syria. Dar'a it's a region between the north of Jordan and south of Syria. It's still until now. It's a historic place actually. So and they did not stay but a short time until they're all perished. They all died. We don't know how.
So Muhammad caused the death of all
The whole
people.
tribe. Who mentioned Ibn al-Athir mentioned this in his book, The Complete History, and Burhanuddin Halabi mentioned this as well. These two are very famous historian Muslim. They say the whole tribe just short period after they left, when they reached the region, they died because they didn't have weapons. Probably they were attacked. They couldn't defend themselves, and they all died. Or the women, they were taken as slaves. Who knows? We don't know exactly what happened to them. Waqidi mentioned something. Just mentioned in his biography. They call Waqidi a liar, but let's see why he said something. One of the people of Medina, when he was coming from Syria, met Banu Qaynuqa after they left Medina, carrying children and women on camels while they were walking. So he asked them, and they said, he asked them, where are you going? Because he recognized them, he knows Banu Qaynuqa. Muhammad expelled us and took our money, our weapons. So he said, where are you going? They said, Damascus. So they want to go into Syria. He said patient. That guy said patient to them. That's all. So we said Abdullah ibn Salul, who saved the whole tribe, they called him the father of hypocrites. That's the reason why they call him hypocrite, for saving the life of a whole tribe. But unfortunately, they all died after that. Which is sad story, really sad story. That proved that Muhammad was always thirsty for blood, and proved that Islam spread with sword and blood.
Exactly, there's no peace in Islam.
I'm gonna mention one poet, the poet of Muhammad. His name Hassan bin Thabit. Muhammad had this guy. He was very close to Muhammad. He was his poet. So one Quraysh said poem against Muhammad. Hassan bin Thabit, he said something against them. He said, the chosen one, talking about Muhammad of course, the chosen one called for a long time in Mecca, but he was not answered, and there was a kind side and a kind speech on his part. So when he called and the sword was attached to his palms, when he moved to Medina of course, when he called and the sword was attached to his hand, to him, they converted to Islam, surrendered and repented, the Arab. So that poem proved that Islam was spread by sword, and you can know better than Hassan bin Thabit, his companion of Muhammad and very close. And by the way, they say when Muhammad received the Maria al-Qibtiyya.
Just a second, please.
When he received Maria Qibtiyya, he gave the sister of Maria Qibtiyya to Hassan ibn Thabit.
Okay. I
So
gotta
that's the whole story. That's the beginning of the conflict between Muslim and the Jew, and that proved that Muslim are the first one who started.
Yeah, so everything started with Muhammad's aggression, right?
Yeah,
With
this is
violence.
we're gonna show these maps later, but this is the Medina in the time of Muhammad. It's changed a lot. We see Banu
Okay, let me take off because I have to go to church now. So,
Alright.
anyways, happy Easter to everyone out there, and Jesus is risen and He's Lord. Thank you.
All right, nice to see you. Take care.
All right. Do you want to finish it? Go ahead.
No, I'm gonna give him the maps and.
Just do the finishing. Okay, so I guess you put the map up so you can see what the locations were, where he went and everything, right?
Yeah.
All right, thank you. Bye.